One cup of English.
Real English for real life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Jason. And today, we're going to talk about something real, something that a lot of people feel, but nobody talks about directly.
Have you ever studied English for months, maybe even years, and still feel like you can't speak?
Like you understand things, you read, you follow along, you get it. But when it's your turn to talk, nothing comes out.
Your mind goes blank. The words disappear, and you think, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, if that's you, this episode is exactly for you.
And before anything else, hit like if you want more honest episodes like this, and subscribe so you never miss one.
And hey, does this feel familiar? Have you been there? Tell us in the comments. Just write me if you've ever felt this way. You are not alone, not even close.
Okay, let's talk.
So, Sophia, let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Why do so many people study English for years and still can't speak?
It's such a real thing. And I think the first thing to say is it's not your fault. Seriously.
It really isn't, because most people learned English in a way that was never designed to make you speak.
Think about how most people learn English in school. You open a book, you study grammar rules, you memorize words, you do exercises, you translate sentences.
And you get good at that. You get good at reading, at translating, at recognizing grammar.
But speaking? Nobody practiced speaking. Maybe 5 minutes in class. Maybe not even that.
And here's the thing. Reading English and speaking English are completely different skills. Like, completely different.
It's like studying the rules of swimming from a book. You can know every single rule. You can pass every test. But when you get in the water,
You can't swim.
exactly, because you never actually practiced swimming, you practiced knowing about swimming.
And that's what happened with English for so many people. You practiced knowing about English, not using it.
And that's not a small difference. That's everything.
So if you've been feeling stuck, now you know why. You didn't fail. The method failed you.
Tell us in the comments, does this sound like your experience? How did you learn English? In school? From apps? From videos? We want to know.
Okay, so now we know the problem, let's go deeper. What exactly did most people learn that wasn't helpful?
The biggest one? Words. People learn individual words. They have lists, they use apps, they learn 50 new words a week.
And then they try to have a conversation. And they can't, because knowing words is not the same as knowing how to use them.
Right, like you might know the word furthermore, but do you know when to say it? In what situation? With what feeling?
Probably not, because you learn the word but not the context, not the situation, not the real moment when people actually say it.
And here's the thing. In real spoken English, people don't think in words. They think in phrases, in small chunks of language.
Like when someone asks how you are, you don't think, I am fine, thank. You just say, I'm good, thanks, as one complete thing.
Exactly. It comes out as one unit, one chunk, because you've heard it so many times in so many situations that it's automatic.
And that's what most people never built, that automaticity, that feeling of the phrase just comes out without thinking.
Because they spent their time on grammar rules and word lists, not on real phrases in real situations.
And look, grammar is not bad. Rules are not the enemy. But if grammar study is all you do, you'll understand English, but you won't speak it.
Understanding and speaking are two different things. You need both, but most people only practiced one.
Have you ever known the answer in your head, but couldn't say it fast enough? Tell us in the comments. That moment, yes or no, we bet most of you will say yes.
Okay, so let's talk about what actually works, because this is the important part.
And we're not going to make this complicated because the answer is actually simple. It's just different from what most people do.
The first thing that works, learning phrases, not words, phrases.
Instead of learning the word order, learn, can I get this to go? Instead of learning the word apologize, learn, sorry about that. Instead of learning the word inquire, learn, can I ask you something?
Real phrases, the way real people say things. Short, natural, ready to use.
And when you learn a phrase, you learn the whole thing together. The words, the order, the feeling, the situation, everything at once.
Your brain stores it as one unit, and when the right moment comes, it comes out automatically without translating in your head.
That's the goal. Not translating in your head and then speaking, just speaking directly.
And how do you get there? Repetition. Hearing the same phrases in many different situations, saying them out loud yourself.
Which brings us to the second thing that works, saying things out loud, not just in your head.
This sounds so simple, but most people skip it. They read English, they listen to English, they think in English, but they don't speak out loud.
And your mouth needs practice. Genuinely. The muscles in your face, your lips, your tongue, they need to learn how English feels physically.
Because some English sounds don't exist in other languages, and your mouth has never made them before, so it feels strange, uncomfortable.
And the only way to make it comfortable is to actually do it. Say things out loud, even alone, even quietly, even when it feels silly.
Especially when it feels silly. That's how you know you're practicing something new.
The third thing that works, real conversations, real situations, not textbook situations.
Because textbook English is very polite, very formal, very careful. I would like to request, could you perhaps?
And real English is, can I get this? Where's the bathroom? What do you think? No way. That's insane.
Short, direct, human. And if you only practice the textbook version, you're not ready for the real version because it sounds completely different.
So you need exposure to real spoken English, real conversations, real reactions, real back and forth.
Which is exactly what we do here. Every episode. Real situations, real phrases, real conversations between two real people.
And that leads us to the fourth thing. And this one is maybe the most important.
Consistency. Showing up every day, even for a small amount of time.
Not studying for 3 hours on Sunday, but doing something every single day, even 10 minutes, even 5.
Because language is built slowly. It's not one big moment of understanding, it's 100 small moments over time, each one adding something small.
And those small things, they add up faster than you think.
Tell us in the comments, what's the hardest part of English for you? Speaking? Understanding fast speakers? Finding the right words? Tell us honestly. We read everything.
Okay, let's get really concrete. Let's show you the difference between textbook English and real English, because sometimes you have to hear it to believe it.
Okay, textbook situation. You're at a cafe, you want to order coffee.
Textbook version. I would like to order 1 coffee, please.
Real version? Can I get a coffee? Or just one coffee, please?
That's it. 4 words, 3 words. That's how real people order coffee.
Textbook situation. You don't understand something someone said.
Textbook version. I beg your pardon. Could you please repeat that?
Real version? Sorry, what? Or can you say that again?
4 words, 3 words. That's it.
Textbook situation. You want to agree with someone.
Textbook version. I completely agree with your statement.
Real version. Totally. Or exactly. Or right?
1 word. That's real agreement. That's how conversations actually flow.
And here's why this matters. When you use the textbook version in a real conversation, it works. People understand you. But it sounds a little formal, a little stiff, like you're reading from a script.
And when you use the real version, it's just natural. You sound like a person, not a textbook.
That's the difference we're going for. Not perfect English, natural English.
Perfect English that sounds formal and stiff, or natural English that sounds human and real. We choose human every time.
Every time.
Now let's talk about something that nobody talks about enough, the emotional side of this.
Because learning a language is not just a skill thing, it's also a confidence thing, a feelings thing.
And a lot of people carry something heavy around English. Maybe they were embarrassed in class once. Maybe someone laughed at their mistake. Maybe they failed a test and decided they just aren't good at languages.
And that moment, that one moment, can stay with a person for years, quietly telling them, "You're not good enough. Don't try. You'll fail again."
And that voice is a liar. But it's a very convincing liar.
Because when you believe you can't do something, you don't try. And when you don't try, you don't improve. And when you don't improve, the voice says, "See, I told you."
It's a circle. And the only way to break it is to do something differently.
Not perfectly, differently. One small thing, one small brave moment.
Like saying one sentence in English today, even if it's short, even if it's imperfect, even if nobody hears it except you.
Because that moment, that small moment, it starts to break the circle. Slowly, but it starts.
And you don't have to feel ready. You won't feel ready. Nobody feels ready when they start something new.
Ready comes after, not before.
And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to start and keep going imperfectly, regularly, honestly.
Honestly, that might be the most important word. Be honest about where you are, not where you wish you were, where you actually are right now.
Because from where you actually are, you can move forward. From where you pretend to be, you can't go anywhere.
If you've ever felt embarrassed about your English, write it in the comments. Not the details, just, "Yes, I've been there." We want you to know you're not alone, because you really aren't.
So, what do we want you to take from today?
3 things, simple ones.
Number one, it's not your fault that you studied and still can't speak. You used a method that wasn't designed for speaking. That's it. That's the whole story.
Number 2, what works is different. Phrases, not just words. Real conversations, not just textbook sentences. Speaking out loud, not just reading and listening.
Number three, you can start today. Not when you feel ready, not when your English is better, today, with what you have right now.
Even one sentence, even one phrase from one of our episodes, even one comment in English. That's a start.
And end starts matter a lot.
Our question for today, and we really want to hear from you. What's your English level right now? Beginner? Intermediate? Somewhere in between?
And what's the hardest thing for you? Speaking? Understanding? Finding words? Confidence?
Tell us in the comments. Be honest, this is a safe space. We don't judge. We just want to understand where you are so we can keep making episodes that actually help.
And if this episode spoke to you today, if it felt like, yes, this is exactly my situation, please hit like. It tells us this kind of honest episode is what you need, and we'll keep making them.
Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We're here every week with real English, real conversations, and no judgment.
You've been trying, maybe for a long time, and that matters. That counts. Don't stop.
Little by little, you've got this.
See you in the next one. Take care.
Bye, everyone.